It's actually time to finish our quilt top. Hey everyone, Cristin Som here, and today we are going to finish our quilt top. We are working on the Enchanted Winter quilt with our sponsor, Daylily Fabric Shop, and yesterday we did our inner borders that came out perfectly, and we are so close to being done. Can't show all of this to you, it's too big, but it's so pretty with all of our personalizations. So today, after we get our outer borders done, that means our quilt top is officially done. Very exciting. So we are going to do that today. I'm going to run through this kind of quickly because I want some dinner before we go to church. So I'm going to just tell you real quick what we're going to do. So outer borders, grab your packet if you made a packet for outer borders. All right, they are on page 49 of our book. I believe they're also on page 46. So their information's in a couple of spots. So our fabric is that dark teal with the blue starbursts is what I call them. I don't know if that's what they actually are, but that's what I've always called them. So it's this fabric, all right, the teal with blue starburst, snowflake, something on it, all right, and I did back mine with fusible stabilizer. In the book, it says you can cut them to 4.5 inches wide or 5 inches wide, totally up to you. I did 4.5. I don't like cutting borders down after I've already done them. I do on the filler blocks, but I don't prefer to on the borders. So totally up to you. So 4.5 inches or 5 inches times width of fabric. So big, long strips. And I always tell you, don't cut these down until assembly. Super important. All right, that's the biggest tip, is do not cut them down until we start assembling our quilt top together. Once we sew these on, then it's safe to do it, but not before that. All right, so 4.5 inches wide or 5 inches if you prefer to cut them down after, times with the fabric. All right, and then we need our batting, and I dropped my packet, so hold on just a second. Sorry about that. I'm giving you so many bloopers lately. I think I'm just working too fast, too hard. So the other thing that we need is our batting. So our batting is going to be just like how we did our inner borders. So we're going to add them on with the glue stick, just like we did for our inner borders. And we're going to add that batting on, all right? And also cut them exactly to size. So I just cut several pieces. I don't know how many I'm going to need right now, but I cut several pieces that are 4 inches wide. That's the key thing, is 4 inches wide, because like I showed you on the inner border tutorial, we'll put them down, make sure that there's a 1/4 inch all the way around, and then just keep adding them on until we don't have any more space on our fabric, on our border fabric. All right, so we'll just keep adding these on until we don't need any more. But the key is to always measure your quilt. I haven't measured mine yet. I assume it's 32.5, but I'm not absolutely sure. I'll add that information in here after. So measure your quilt. That's the most important thing. Then you can determine how much quilting that you need. And when I bring you over to the computer, I'll show you the different size options and figure out a little bit of math to figure out what is going to work for my quilt. It should be probably pretty close to yours as well, but just in case, measure your quilt. Okay, so add the batting, get your glue stick. We will do that. These you want at 4 inches wide, all right, no bigger, because then what happens is anything bigger is going to go into your seam allowance. So you want that 4 inches so that you have a 1/4 inch on each side, okay? And then we have our quilting. So we're going to quilt this with, it's the one that's in our Enchanted Winter quilting bundle. It's called Border Winter 1. We used it on our inner borders, but the larger sizes are different. Those are for the outer borders. So we're going to use a 4-inch width times whatever hoop size works for you. And like I said, we'll go over that when we get to the computer. But you want a 4-inch quilting design, and it's that really pretty one with houses and trees and fun. So this will be really pretty. I'm enjoying it. So the only thing is that this dark fabric is pretty dark, and seeing those houses is going to be difficult. So I'm pretty sure I will use a light thread so that I can see them. They recommend G. I think that's the Pale Mist actually. it might be linen. Let me look real quick. G is linen. Good. That's what I'm going to use. So linen will help it to stand out a little bit. It will be difficult on this darker fabric, but I do want that quilting to stand out personally. So I will be using the linen thread color that's in our Enchanted Winter fabric kit, not fabric thread kit, sorry. And then I'm gonna bring you over to the computer and show you different size options based on your hoop size and math of what works and what doesn't. And showing you to try and get as much quilting that we can in our outer borders, because like I mentioned yesterday on the inner borders, I prefer to have the full quilting. I don't want it to cut off. I want the full thing. So I'm gonna do a little bit of math and figure out what works. All right, and I want to point out, you guys are doing so great. That Enchanted Winter sweater, a ton of people did that, and it's absolutely beautiful, and I've loved seeing them. But then you've branched out, and it's so cool to see. So I wrote a couple of little notes. So Sharon did a beautiful Nomi sweater. Carol has done a bunch of sweaters, and I have to copy her on the ornaments one on her navy sweater. That was just beautiful. And Darl with the vest with the Tundra Rose was on her vest. And then the swirly lights, Jamie did swirly lights with the tree on the brown sweatshirt. That's the one I have on a navy shirt. She did it on a brown sweatshirt, and it's so pretty. You guys, it's so cool to see everybody's progress in this. It's been amazing. And we have a youngster that's joining us. I don't know if you're in the Cristin Creates group, you've seen her post, her grandma's posts, I think they are. But it's Ella. She's been doing so great on her quilt, and we've loved seeing her progress. And the best for me is when we see a picture of her holding her quilt, because we get to see her and her excitement and joy with this project. So a few people are doing this as their first ever quilt, so that's pretty exciting too. So I'm just loving in the group. I'm seeing all the pictures. You guys have been keeping up like crazy. I mean, like stressful for me keeping up so well on every time I post a tutorial and say, okay, this is what we're going to work on. Boom, you guys all post your pictures, and you're doing so great. I'm so amazed by all of you. So today, outer borders, and then our full quilt top will be done. We still have backing and binding and embellishments and a label. I'm going to work on a label for you. I haven't started that yet, but that's the plan for those that have made a donation to this channel. I'm going to make a quilt label. That's the plan, as soon as time permits. So anyway, so we are going to go over to the computer and check out different options for our outer borders. Hey everyone, I'm at my computer now, and I'm just going to very quickly show you how to do a couple. I think hopefully we can fit 2 of these border strips in one hooping and see how many hoopings that we need. So I'm going to open up Embroidery Essentials. That's the embroidery software that I highly recommend. So let's see. The first thing is always to check the hoop size. So I'm currently on my 8x12. So if we have 2 4-inch quilting designs, that means 9-inch minimum. So I'm thinking we need at least a 9x14 hoop. You can, if you don't have that large of a hoop, then you can absolutely do one at a time, one strip at a time, or if you're able to fit 2 in one hooping, that's my hope. So I'm going to check and see what will fit. So I'm going to open up this preferences folder, and I'm going to start by clicking on my 9x14 hoop. I may end up going with my 10x16. And then I'm going to click this compass button and click on H for hoop. All right, so we want to bring in that quilting design. It's Border Winter 1. So I'm going to open up a file, and let's see. I'm just looking for my files here. I want my quilting bundle right there. And it is the Border Winter 1 right there. Double click. All right, and then embroidery files, block by block, Pez. And we want the 4-inch size. So let's see, if I click on the 4x10, well, let's start with the 4x7. So the 4x7 is actually 7 inches. So 4.5 because of that seam allowance, like I mentioned on the inner borders. So 4.5 by 7. It's really because of that seam allowance. So, but the 7 inch is the part that we need to know. And then the 4 by 10. So I don't, like I said on the other video, I don't know if it's just because I have Embroidery's thumbnailer that it's telling me the size, but I could just bring them all over. I might as well just do that and just show you them. So there's the 4 by 7, plus then it gives you an option to be able to see the different designs. So there's the 4 by 7, and that one, like I said, it is a full 7 inches long, so that's good to know. I'm sure I'm not going to use that. When you try to move anything, you have to make sure to click on the stitching. So I'm just moving it out of the way for now. And then the next one is the 4 by 10. And by the way, so we start by always measuring our quilt first. And my quilt measures 32.5 inches, 32.5 by 32.5. So I know that I want at least that in quilting. So it will take at least 3 hoopings minimum. So this 4 by 10 is 4 by 9 and 7/16. So same as the inner borders, how the 10-inch size was 9 and 7/16. All right, so maybe they'll all be the same as the inner borders. I don't know. So here's the 4 by 12. I'm just going to click on this and move it out of the way. You have to click on the stitching to move it. That's the 4 by 10. So now the 4 by 12, that one is, let's see, 9 and 1/8. I got to click on the design. There we go. So 4.5 by 11 3/4. So 4 by 11 3/4. All right. So if we did 3 of those, we'd have, if it's the same as the other one, we should have 34.5. So let's see. 11.75 times 3 hoopings is 35.25. All right, 35.25. That's 11 3/4. All right, so that one would work if we did the 12-inch size. And then let's check the 14. I bet the 14 is actually 14 inches since the other one was. Let's see. I know it looks like I'm making quite a mess here. There's the 14. So the 14 is 14 inches. So we don't need that big. If we did 14 and we did it 3 times, we're looking at 42 inches, and we don't need 42 inches. So I need 32 on one of them. I need 32 inches on one of them, but then we're going to add that, we'll do the side borders first and then the top and the bottom, which means that then it'll add 8 inches. All right, so we're looking at, what did I say, 32, so we're looking at 40. So we might actually want the 14 inch because on the second 2 ones, we will need 40 inches, a minimum of 40 inches. So you would have to do, we could do all of them 3 hoopings, and then those last 2 we would do 1 extra hooping. And so whether you're doing 1 extra of the 12 or 1 extra of the 14, it's really not going to matter actually. So 11.75 times 4 equals 47. So if we did 4 hoopings, because like I said, that last one will need an extra hooping. So I think I'm just going to go with the 12 inch. Like I mentioned on the inner borders, you could use the 14 inch and then utilize others to make it fit. So like a 7 inch, but I think I'm just going to, so you know what, I'm going to start by looking at the designs and see the cuteness factor. That's an issue, right? So I'm going to close this 10 inch. I know I don't want the 10 inch, so I'm going to delete that. And then the 7 inch, cute, but I don't want it. So I'm going to delete that. So I'm deciding between the 10 and the 12, and they're pretty much identical. There's obviously more to the 14 inch, but otherwise they're really identical. And really, the more hoopings, you're going to get more houses. So I'm going to go with the 12 inch. So whatever works for you, you just figure out how many hoopings that you need and to be able to get the amount of quilting that you need. So I know that on my first 2 strips, I need at least 32.5 inches of quilting. It's really 32 because of that 1/4 inch seam allowance on each side. And then when you add the extra borders on the sides, the 4 and the 4, it's going to be another 8, so 40.5. So the 14 inch, if you were to do 3 of the 14 inch, you're going to get 42. If you did 3 of the 14 inch, you're going to get 42 inches. So you'll save a little time actually doing that. But let's see. So you're going to get 42 on the 3 that you really only need 32. So you're really not going to save a whole lot of time, because either way, let's see, if you did, oh, it's going to be 3 hoopings on each of the 2 strips, because we can only fit a maximum of 2 strips in 1 hooping. So all right, so bottom line is you can either do, like I said, 3 hoopings of the first 2 strips will get you plenty of quilting, no problem there. But on the second 2 strips, you need longer. So your option is to either do 4 hoopings at the 12-inch size, which is 11 3/4. That would give you 47 inches, which is plenty, right? We need 42. Or you could do 3 hoopings of the 14-inch and get, what was it? 14 times 3 is 42. So, and that actually is cutting it close. It's cutting it a little bit close, but it would work. I can tell you right now, it would work. So I'm going to go with the 12-inch size. Then I'm doing this process just one time, but you have the option, whatever works for you. You can do the 12-inch size, or you can do the 14-inch size. I'm going to just do the 12-inch size and plan on 3 hoopings for the first 2 strips and 4 hoopings for the last 2 strips. That's what I'm going to do. All right, so this one is the 12-inch size. So I've got one already. So I'm going to go ahead and make the changes. So just like on our inner borders, we don't need the first one, the 1 and 2. Those are the placement and tack down of the batting. I'm going to add the batting onto my strips with my glue stick, so I don't need those. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click from the right, drag over, and delete steps 1 and 2. I'm going to click delete on my keyboard, and then I have blue, light orange, and turquoise. So I don't need to change any colors or anything. So I can go ahead and I'm going to put this one in place. I'm just going to use the arrow keys on my keyboard to move it over and see if I have enough room. I don't know. I might decide on my 10 by 16. Now keep in mind that the fabric is only a 1/2 inch larger, so you won't have a lot of overlap, but if it's this close, there will be some. So I'm going to say Control C while I have all of this highlighted, and I'm going to say Control V like victory to paste. And you can see that there's 2 now. That first one is just on top of the first. So I'm going to move it over here and see if we have enough room. What do you think? Let's see. It fits. All right, so that works really well. We've already changed the colors, so we don't need to worry about that. We can do our color sort. All right, so this is 1, and we need 4 of them, 3 for the first one and 4 for the last one. So that works. This is good. So we have 6 color steps right now. I'm going to do let's see, we've got them centered where we want them. We've got the colors all good. I'm going to go ahead and do a utility color sort. Nice and simple. Have these same settings as I have to get the same results. It reduced it by 3 color changes. Click New View, and then let's just see. There's the placement of our fabric. That's the placement of the fabric because we're going to have our batting already attached on if you're using the same technique as me. And then there's the tack down, and then there's the quilting. That is so pretty, don't you think? Oh my gosh, this is going to be fun. Very fun. All right, so that was really easy. I'm going to do a file, save stitch file as, and I'm going to bring it back to where I have my quilting. Let's see, where do I have that? Dropbox. Enchanted. Let's see. The quilting designs right there. Quilting bundle. And in the border, block by block, Pez. And I'm going to name this 4 by 12 times 2. Winter 1. Whatever you want to name it so that you can find it easily. Save, and then I'm going to send it to my machine. Oh, I didn't change the name. Oh, it did it. Yay. All right, so that was super easy. I'm just going to run through this 3 times on the first 2 and 4 times on the second 2. Like I said, you can do the 14-inch on that last one. You saw it's really quick and easy to do, so whatever works for you. Let's go ahead and get stitching. my shirt today. This is a fun one. I love this. Look at this. So I live in Idaho now, and when I was cycling a ton, I'm doing hiking now for bone density, but when I was cycling a ton, there were Highland cattle at a farm near my house, and I could ride my bike there and go see them like really up close. It was super, super cool. So when I saw this on Etsy, I had to get it. It's just the cutest little cow ever. And I've got it on a puffer vest that I found on Amazon. Super cute. I love this. So we're heading to church in a little bit, so I'm gonna wear my little cow. So cute. So I will add information under this video of where I found the cow design, and also the puffy vest on Amazon. If you haven't done a puffy vest before, you gotta do it. It's pretty cool. If I recall, I did it just straight on tearaway because I didn't want to iron on a puffy vest, and you probably could, but I didn't feel comfortable doing it, so I just did it on tearaway stabilizer, which is what I do in my hoop anyway when I do any clothing. But I usually add fusible stabilizer on the inside, and I didn't on this one. I don't believe I did. I think I just did tearaway because I don't see any other. So anyway, really fun. I will add all the information, and actually I'll add a link to my Amazon storefront. There's all kinds of shirts, sweaters, vests, all kinds of things in there, so that I've embroidered on all of them. So check it out when you have a chance. And how are you doing with your goal? I love hearing about your goals. You guys are killing it. Like not only meeting your goal, but then extending it and making it a bigger goal. So it's very impressive. I love it. It keeps me inspired. So my goal, I have a goal of 75 miles of hiking this month in November, to get 75 miles. And I'm at like just under 60, 59.6 or something so far for the month of November. So I'm doing great. And the last couple of days I've done 4 or 5 miles every single day with massive elevation. I've been doing it on the treadmill and just hiking. And so I'm doing really good with my goal. I haven't done it today. I was really hoping to. I had a good plan, and then I worked all day on the inner borders video, so I didn't get to work out today. So I'll go for a little walk with Lily, who is snoring in the background, tonight, but day off from an actual workout, so I'll hit it hard tomorrow for sure. So that's part of my goal. The other part is all the hand holding, and it's going really well. I mean, part of it is the fact that I know we're coming up on Thanksgiving, and we're all kind of rushing and working hard on getting ready for our family. I've got 18 people I'm going to host for Thanksgiving. That should be interesting, but it's going to be amazing. I'm super excited, a little bit stressed about it, but the group has been wonderful at helping answer questions. So I want to mention that also. If you have a question, please post it to the group rather than sending me a message. I get so many messages that it's overwhelming, and the group has 7,300 people just in the group. We've got like almost 11,000, I think, followers on YouTube. So you could ask there too, but in the group, they're like, boom, on it. Like somebody asks a question and everybody's answering and helping and giving advice and sharing links of where they can find the information. And so that would be really helpful if you could post to the group. Then you've got 7,300 people there willing to help you, and the entire admin team and I help out as much as I can as well. So the group's been phenomenal with my goal, absolutely phenomenal. Before we started this, it was extremely overwhelming with how many people were pulling at me every which way. And now the group has really jumped in and made my life easier and made it really a fun group where everybody is helping each other. And you know, I'm so thankful. And here we're coming up on Thanksgiving and feeling blessed and thankful. And there's more messages. So anyway, it's been wonderful. I've learned a lot through this process, and I want to hear about your goals and what you're doing for your goal, what the action plan is, how it's coming. I'm sorry about Lily snoring in the background. I hope it's not too annoying. I hope you can't hear it, but anyway, life goes on.